Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz. Guys, welcome to episode 171 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We're thrilled to have you here with us. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. Now, first, we have 14 Fortitude episodes. Now, in these ones, we cover the mental side of our brand. So we go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the physical side of our brand. Now, in these ones, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. So first, we cover everything that we offer through our fully custom Untapped training app, which is awesome.
It's sick, I would say. Yeah.
We also go over everything to do with the gym, nutrition, diets, workouts, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard, supplements, and then sometimes we will take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Now, guys, keep in mind, these physical vitality episodes are full of free game, so make sure you pay attention.
Well done, dude. All right, guys, on to our third format. That is what we have for you today. It's our breaking news format. It is a current event-based format. We touch on current events, current articles going on in today's world, primarily the U.S., because that is where we are, obviously. Now, on the topic, that was a great crack. You put that right next to the mic. That was awesome. That was awesome. Wow. Free ad right here. Oh my gosh.
Form energy.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out. But guys, on those current events, current articles, a lot of the topics you see around current events and a lot of the podcast talk especially is very doom and gloom. It's about the depressing aspects of it. We're here to bring solutions to those issues. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. We touch on things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on all of our lives in here, and then also male-based topics in general, and how important men are to the future of the world. Now, keep in mind, I'm 27, Wurtz is 26. Our producer, Mitch, is 25. Because of that reason, we are not coming to you from the top of the mountain, so to speak. The only perfect man to ever exist and walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to the fifth format. That is our guest format. We touch on things or sit down with people that are entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, athletes, doctors, anybody with a great story or somebody who brings you value, especially like today. And then we go over it with them. We learn a lot from those episodes. You guys are also in turn going to learn a lot from those episodes. Now, our final thing, well, second to final thing, I guess, to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Mitchell, I can't even get the camera angle on you in the edit. You know that when you do that?
I'm dark.
What?
Like a locked character in a video game. Can't really see my face.
Interesting.
That's how it is.
Very mysterious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We said it. He was our second to last thing to introduce.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce our last thing.
Our last thing to introduce is our good friend and repeat podcast guest, Untapped client as well, Mr. JT Thomas. Hello, sir. How are we doing? There's a pause.
There's a pause. Yes.
He's back, baby.
For those of you on video, you just saw that. And if you know, you know.
Happy to be here. Grateful for the invite. I don't know what I did to deserve to have round 2 on here, besides paying you almost $400 over this past year.
That's crazy.
As an Untapped athlete, it's self-proclaimed sponsored. So
yeah,
this is,
by the way, first Untapped athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually though.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Check his bio.
Yep.
It's a real thing.
Peep the bio. No big deal.
at jt.thomas.
Yep.
01.
Right.
And
right.
future Kidney Games championship.
We're gonna bring home some medals.
I think that's Yep.
Oh yeah.
I think that's on the docket for sure.
I don't think
Yeah.
I know.
Oh
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna visualize it for him.
Can't wait.
So, before we get into the topic of the day here, because this is a breaking news episode featuring, again, our wonderful friend, Mr. JT Thomas. But before we do that, we have to do our normal stuff here, which is Mitch's fact of the day. So what do you got for us today?
So the average length of an MLB baseball game is about 3 hours, right? Give or take.
Give or take. A little less now.
The typical play time, that means pitches, hits, stuff like that, is 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
The typical length of action in a 3-hour-long MLB game is 10 minutes
Sure.
when you add up the pitches and hits
Yeah, right,
and
right.
everything else.
I mean, I'm just looking to get 10 minutes of action, so we're fine.
Oh. Well, it's obviously an effective 10 minutes of action,
I'm gonna say.
considering you are going to be a father as well here soon.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
Not
Oh
like you
yeah,
got-
because that wasn't out there already.
Yeah.
oh, wait a second. We announced that one. So good.
What the heck? Was there more to your point here?
No, that's the fact.
Okay.
That's
So
just
the
the fact.
fact that the 3-hour time is condensed into just 10 minutes.
Correct. Pretty crazy, huh?
It is crazy, and that's honestly part of the reason they implemented like the pitch clock and
Which is
the-
fantastic. I love the
the-
pitch clock.
the short time between innings and things like that. And honestly, as a longtime baseball fan, I do agree. I think it's been a positive change for the game. But
I was actually meant to ask you that if like you thought it was a positive change or not.
I do.
I mean, granted, now a very casual fan like myself, I of course enjoy it.
sure,
But
sure.
yeah,
I was certainly skeptical on it first, and I would assume JT, you probably were as well
Mhm.
when that was first announced. But I would say it has been an overall positive for the game, no doubt. One of
Awesome.
the few that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the MLB, one of the few positives that he has brought to the game.
don't worry, Bettman hasn't done much for the NHL,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you know
yeah.
we're not in a good spot there either. But it's okay.
right. But 10 minutes of action, the fact of the day. Yeah, great though. Great game.
The beautiful game. Is that what they call it, or is it something else?
Oh, there's America's pastime.
That's always a good
Yeah.
one. That is a cool one.
That's the main one. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But anyway, what's our breaking news today? Mr.
What
Gable?
is our breaking
Yeah.
today? Well, if you can't read the title, we're gonna, say it for you guys here. But it's Stop Crying Wolf. The main thing we're going to talk about is the victimhood mindset and things just surrounding it in general. Not only in the case of somebody like our friend here, JT, who has every excuse as a kidney transplant recipient to have the victim mindset, so to speak, and is not, but also victim mindset when it comes to supposed oppressed groups that we'll get into as
Yes.
well,
Yes.
especially in the United States.
Right.
So.
By the way, we should have said this, but real quick, what was his other episode? First episode.
His other episode was season 3, episode 18.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. So if you didn't get the reference where you just talked about him being a kidney transplant recipient, go to, what was it, season 3, episode 18?
Yep, correct.
You will hear his full story, which is a wonderful one.
Mhm.
But yes, where would you like to start here?
Where like to start? Well, I mean, we can actually relate it to what's going on with your life, JT, here a little bit. Obviously, we mentioned and hinted at the idea of the kidney games, so to speak, the kidney transplant games, a little bit of like an Olympics, so to speak, that you'll be competing in this coming year, correct?
Yeah, so it is actually called the Transplant Games of America. What it is, it's a multi-day event highlighting organ donation. So whether you're a recipient, donor, or donor family, so people who maybe have had children who have lost their life, tragically cut short, and they've decided to donate their organs to save other people. It's a really emotional and just a fun way to get a group of people together who truly live a life full of gratitude. And they have different games, such as 5Ks, golf, basketball, badminton, ballroom dancing. They even have like a singing portion of it as well. So
Awesome.
you don't have to be a true athlete, but again, I'm here to win. I come to win. I can enjoy those aspects surrounding the intentions of the game, but I'm coming there for some medals,
Yes.
gold medals.
A W.
actually.
What did Ed Milet say? Winning is more fun than fun is fun. Yeah, that's
classic
still
quote there.
still true.
Yeah.
Still true.
What events do you plan on participating in?
So, also fun fact, not only are we friends, colleagues, and associates, but we dabble in the game of golf. We'll call that the beautiful game for today.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's an event that I'm participating in. So I'll be bringing in my clubs there. I'll be doing the 5K and some basketball. I'll have to look at more, but so kind of
I didn't know you could hoop.
I can.
Hmm.
I'm more of an assist guy. I'm like a John Stockton.
Yeah.
I know my role.
Mhm.
Kind of like golf as well. Reading greens. Whatever I can do to help support the team.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just a tall guy in basketball.
All right.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Your physical presence.
yeah. I'm like a short Ben Wallace.
You're the
Yeah,
enforcer
yeah.
on the court.
There we go.
Are you planning on dunking on people?
No.
Just had to check the shade
Yeah,
there
I'm
real
curious.
quick.
What was the look at the arms for?
Because arms.
Didn't want to go down there at all. It may have been related to the shade.
In all
arms.
seriousness, I don't have long enough arms for it.
That's
yeah.
the reason, for sure.
True.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
Definitely nothing else.
Yeah, no.
For
No,
sure.
no,
Yeah.
not at all.
That is actually sick though, because it's when you mentioned the transplant games, I was like, I didn't even consider that really being a thing, which it makes sense that it is. Have you met or talked to any of the other athletes yet?
So my first initial introduction to the transplant games is whenever I was a patient ambassador for a pharmaceutical company. Back in 2018, I got to go to the events in Utah. So they change throughout, it's a biannual event. So the most recent ones were down in Birmingham, and this upcoming ones, so the end of June, so close to my 12-year transplant anniversary, is going to be in Denver. So I haven't really met anybody in person who I'll be teammates with, but they had a Zoom meeting just to kind of get people together and say, hey, welcome to the team, Mid-America transplant team. And I did it primarily because, that's where a lot of my fitness motivation comes from, is to be healthy, longevity, long-term. And the best way to do that, because, I can take my medications, I can get my labs drawn, I can go to my doctor's appointments, I can be as healthy as possible, but, it could all be gone like that. So thinking longevity, long-term, and just being an example of like what is possible, giving somebody an opportunity to be like, wow, that guy can, run a sub 35K or sub 25, who knows? And just be able to be around people who have gone through similar situations. It's an incredible feeling, and definitely excited to be around folks like that.
Yeah.
How many people total are usually in the games? Do you know? Like, is it a pretty big event?
Oh gosh. So yeah, it's people from all over the country. They even have a World Transplant Games. I have not attended those yet, but there's thousands of people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like probably like 4,000 to 5,000.
Big deal then. Oh,
That's
okay.
badass.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's maximizing the gift you received.
Sure.
In the kidney transplant. You know what I mean? That's literally what it is. You're maximizing that through physical health as well. That's where the longevity comes from with it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet.
Well, and it kind of fits into the topic, I suppose, but specifically focusing on you, JT. I mean, you have every excuse in the book to be a victim and not live life to the fullest. And you do the complete opposite of that, and you do live life to the fullest. And you're a great husband. You're going to be a great father. You're a great friend. Certainly a great teammate on the golf course too. That's going to go well for you at the games. I guess talk a little bit more into that. I mean, I know you just talked about your whys, and your reasons for wanting to be healthy, but speak a little bit more onto that as to why you choose to not be a victim, and try to set an example for others not be a victim, whether they are recipients or not, quote unquote normal people.
Sure. So it took a long time to develop that sort of attitude. I felt, and a lot of people in that same situation, waiting for a transplant, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of, reasons why you're on that list. Some is because of a lifestyle. Maybe a lifestyle led to something happen, like maybe consumed more alcohol, and your liver's failed, or, you're a diabetic, and maybe, if you're type 1, or type 2 is lifestyle.
Type 2 is lifestyle. Type 1 is genetic.
So it's like
yeah,
that's one of the
hereditary.
main precursors for kidney failure is diabetes and things like that. And so what I really needed to do during that time was to understand my locus of control, which is like, okay, what kind of influence do I have on what's happening to me? And so with that specifically, everything was out of my control. So how could I be upset about something that nobody did this to me? It wasn't acted upon. The disease that I had does not even impact like white people as much. So like I was a minority of a minority.
Interesting.
So it's one of those things where you just have to have those conversations with yourself. Be like, really, who is in control of how I respond to these things? And 10 times out of 10, it's going to be me. And so having that kind of attitude translated to other aspects of my life, and how I interact with other people, and there's kind of one of those internal 3-second pauses that I can reflect and say, okay, who is in control of this situation? And a lot of people, fortunately have not had to go through the process like I did.
Mhm.
And so they almost have to conjure up ways to feel like that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate to see, but I think if you get more people just having those internal conversations, because that's really where the difference is made.
I think that you're talking about conjuring it, so to speak, that conjuring that victim mindset that comes along with it. I think obviously before social media, victim mindset was obviously a thing then too, but it's definitely been enhanced by the fact that somebody can go online now and basically talk about how awful their life is and then gain sympathy from strangers from that too. And that enhances that victim mindset. It's like, oh, I'm doing the right thing because I got validation by saying how my life's so horrible and or I got broken up with or something like that and now I'm a victim and whatnot, or I'm a part of this group and now I'm a victim. I think it just makes it easier, is what you're talking about a little bit nowadays, especially.
Oh yeah. I mean, 'cause if you have somebody complain about very normal life experiences, such as breaking up with somebody, like these people who post are not the first person to go through this experience. Like we all, to an extent, share some sort of experience. And that's where I think people think that they're emotionally connected to that. And you'll have strangers who will die on the hill to support somebody that they don't even know, have never met, don't know their circumstance, but because maybe they can relate to them in a certain degree, like race, gender, orientation, religion, whatever.
Yeah.
That, oh, I have to go to bat for this person when their paths will never cross in their life.
No impact on their life,
Right.
nothing.
None.
Yeah,
It's
nothing.
like, the people who talk about like celebrities, like they don't even know you exist.
No.
They never will either.
Right.
They never will. They're also, most of them, obviously not very good people either. That's another aspect about this, like worshiping a celebrity. It's like we know that they are genuinely, 90% of them are not good people. It's like that's not a good person to idolize either.
Oh no. And you get that dopamine hit from social media because you have all the notifications and all the stuff, and one conversation, you'll get 10 minutes of action and you feel like you did something good.
That's right.
Like you feel validated.
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm part of this mission to help somebody.
Mhm.
But, for the transplant aspect, it's like these are real people, real lives. And that on social media, it's a whole lot different than waiting and being physically going through that process.
Sure.
Hmm.
Sure. Because of the unknown.
Mhm.
And it's a totally different situation. And I think too, and we've talked a lot. I think we talked a lot about it with Lexi on her episode, and then you and I have talked about it several times too, like learning from other people's stories and lives and things like that. It's not this, where people are just perpetuating a problem or a victim mindset where it's not actually there. They're just, again, to use the word, they're conjuring up this fake narrative, this fake story. Whether it's someone in a situation that's waiting for a transplant or a certain sect of people or some kind of political issue or whatever it might be. But we're not talking about learning from other people's stories and connecting with other people's stories and connecting with people for that reason in this way, and it's just, I think social media, that's one of the large negatives of social media because it just perpetuates those types of problems.
Yeah. Well, social media also does, because you were talking about the idea of caring about strangers more than, like, for example, your own family, essentially. That's like the idea. It's actually, I believe it originated with Catholic theology, the idea of ordo amoris. It's the idea of the order of love, so to speak, that came along with that Christ basically established as the idea, where it was Christ, then basically, church, and then family, and then you keep going down the list. And then at the bottom of it is like people you don't know and strangers and countries you have no part in and stuff like that, for example.
Well, it was that thing, it's been a
The
while
heat-
back.
the
now,
heat map.
But the heat
Yeah,
map, yeah,
100%.
exactly. And that was focusing on Republicans and Democrats or liberal conservative, whatever it was. But you look around, whether it's the general population or you look at politicians, and those things are absolutely true. Look at what the left is going to bat for. Look at what the right is going to bat for, and it is true.
Right.
And people got really upset that we talked about that heat map. It's like you're getting upset because you know it's true.
Right. And we're talking about citizens that are a part of each of those ideologies, I guess is a better way to put it. Because obviously, as we know, a lot of the Republican politicians focus on one particular country
Well, of course.
over anybody else in their life, essentially. At least it seems like it, the way they send our tax dollars to them, but which is just wonderful. But like that 100% does go with it. The heat map is kind of the idea of that, where it's easier to play the victim because you are detached from a stranger. You don't know this person. You aren't connected to them in any sort of way. You have no connection to their lifestyle, their religion, their thought processes, anything like that. So it's easier to sit there and say you relate with them, while it's much harder to go and talk to your mom and dad or brother and sister or cousins or whoever close to you in your family or friends. It's much harder to develop a real relationship and care about those people, and then also have nuance in those conversations, even if they disagree with you in some way too. So it's 100% like it's easier to perpetuate a victim mindset when you're focused on strangers and strange countries and things you have no impact on or have no impact on your life. Now, again, obviously that's not us saying you shouldn't care about what's going on in the world, for example. That's obviously an awareness, but it does start with, for example, the household. It starts with, Christ, the husband, the wife, the kids. For example, it starts right there.
Well,
that hierarchy right there.
Right. What's that? God, country, family. Isn't that like the?
Oh,
Well,
like on this shirt.
Speaking of, yeah, that's.
I didn't even know that was on your shirt. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, that's why I commented on it before the podcast. Yeah, because it had that on there.
Didn't even know that because I used to write that actually on the inside of my baseball hats.
But that's the idea. Is like even looking at your shirt, JT. You could go God, family, local, elections, whatever you want to call it, local politics, state politics, then country politics or country in general. You know what I mean? Sure. You could even look at it in that manner and you could break it down even more so from that. But the order makes total sense, right? Yeah. I mean, again, call me crazy.
Anyway.
At least in our eyes. Yeah. What do you think about that?
What do I think about
the order, so to speak, or the hierarchy of that?
I think that social media has diluted that and has ingrained us and almost made it popular to not view this as a priority. If you have 2,000 followers on social media or 500,000 followers, it's like, the message can get diluted. If you're talking about all these different things, it's the dilution of it. And it's also kind of goes hand in hand with like, if you only focus on these things, it makes things simpler.
Yes.
It reduces the complication. It reduces the chaos because our minds and our hearts aren't meant to know every single tragedy that happens.
So true.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I feel, more anxious specifically because of social media, because I see all these things happening that are in, Florida or in the Middle East or wherever the case may be. And they're saying, I'm supposed to care about that all the time. I'm like, no, not really. Like I care about, my family first. Cause when I was single, I didn't really have that point of view. Then I got married. So it's like, okay, I'm protecting her interests. I have a responsibility of protection. And then now I have a kid on the way, 18 weeks the size of a sweet potato, that I'm thinking about the future. So you're thinking about, in those sense, in those terms, like, it's like myself, it's all immediate. When I have, Beth, it's like, okay, now she's part of my world. She's part of my order. She's part of my, direct focus. And then with a kid, you think about raising it. You think about long term. It's like, okay, how can I utilize my energy to the best ability? And it's not by caring about this person's, incident over here or this viral something or this news story, which again, kind of going back to the locus of control is like, I can't control what happens over there. Even within our own government, like up in DC, it's like people can talk about, with pitchforks saying, I'm going to defend, Republicans or Democrats. It's like my tax money, my tax dollars, it doesn't go specifically to one political party.
Right.
It goes to both.
Right.
It goes to the entire operation. Yeah.
Whoa. Was that the country we were talking about?
Come on. I was itching to get it out.
But that's a thing too, where, you have a group of people who, have been victimized in some way, shape, or form. They constantly remind us that they are, whether they are or they're not. And so kind of going also back to social media is that, you could post about being sad or depressed or whatever, and you'll have people who have gone through it and they'll encourage you and validate it. But it's like, what movies do we watch? We watch the hero who overcomes. We like the hero. And people, it's a Joe Rogan phrase, like, be your own hero. Be the hero in your own story.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people maybe aren't honest enough with themselves to take the accountability to be that hero. And because they care about what this person's post, or maybe if you post something, like what someone will react to it.
Yeah.
Which, again, they should have no influence on your beliefs, your thoughts, things like that. But that's the thing about social media too. It's really easy to hide also behind words like anti-Semitism or racism or homophobia. It's like
xenophobia. You just keep going.
And you put some of those words out there, a buzzword, and people who you don't know,
the clicks
who have
come.
never met you, the clicks come, and they'll call you that and everything. It's like, it's not true.
I mean, you can specifically on TikTok, you guys can go look at some of our posts, especially from the breaking news episodes, and we do it a little on purpose.
Oh,
no doubt,
100%.
Because it does exactly what we're talking about. It gets the clicks, it gets the views, it gets people all riled up. And we kind of sit there and laugh because you have these people who don't know each other, don't know us, also very clearly do not listen to the podcast, which again is why we pull this specific, minute-long clip or 30-second clip, but just going nuts in the comments, whether it's at us, at each other, at this cause or whatever. And it's like, you people are idiots. And you walk right into the plan.
And our trap, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we know it's going to happen. I mean, we got 3,000 views within, I don't know how much time on TikTok in the last clip we posted. Yeah. It was like a couple days or less than that even.
Right.
And it was because we just said things that are, stuff we think.
Right.
But we clipped that part down
exactly
to a minute-long segment. And then they don't go and listen to the podcast and go listen to the reasons behind that either.
Exactly. Which they would likely agree with, or at least be
understand.
Like, okay, well, maybe that could make sense. Maybe that's not where we need to go now with it, but maybe that does make sense or whatever it might be. But it's just, social media is a funny place. It's a funny place. There are plenty of positives that come with it, but I think we have outlined certainly at least some of the negatives that can come with it.
Well, JT, it could go back to you even where you were talking about who your priorities are as well in your life, where it's like, if somebody took, like, for example, you are Christ, then Beth, then your son or daughter, whichever one. I mean, obviously, or multiple, obviously, for that matter, in the future, God willing for that matter. Hopefully it's multiple. But like your order goes right there. It goes Christ, it goes Beth, it goes your kids. And then we can start talking about friends, other family, all that stuff down the road. If these people that go and comment or just post on social media for this stuff in general followed that same order, it also brings that peace you're talking about, because it is very comforting because it's simple. Genuinely.
Yes.
Like no matter how high IQ of a person you think you are or whatever, having things be straightforward and a plan to follow that way, aka in the order of what we just talked about, makes things much clearer, which means the plan's easier to follow too in your life, which makes it harder to be a victim when you have a plan to follow every time.
Well, and that can go for literally anything, whether it's what we're talking about now with the hierarchy of, kind of how to live your life, but even following the plan from your trainers, following the plan at work. That's what I mean. JT's a perfect example of that. So that can go for anything. And when you have a plan and a structure to follow, you're exactly right. It makes things simpler. And, it kind of just got my mind spinning. These people that comment on these posts and create the arguments and go at people that they don't know. Can you imagine how that is to live your life that way? Because, earlier, JT, you were kind of talking, it's like, it almost stresses you out when this new thing is in the news or on social media. This new thing happened, this new war, this new whatever. It's like, if you are the type of person that feels the need to care about every single one of those things,
care about nothing.
You care about nothing,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What's the saying there? If you
oh my gosh, you're gonna, because I know what you're talking about too.
If you believe everything, you believe nothing, or something like that.
Yes.
Whatever.
It's something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But can you imagine the literal high stress levels that you are constantly having to deal with because you're worried about the next group of people that might be getting bombed or something? And I'm not saying that's a good thing by any means, but
right.
but we got our own issues over here. And that's always our point, on our breaking news episodes is we got to care about what's going on here. I don't have the time, and I'm certainly not willing to spend the energy to worry about all these other things. And even more so, not willing to spend money on it either. You know, but it just kind of got my mind spinning. It's like, what a high stress life to live if you are just constantly going through social media looking for the next post to go at somebody or write a whole novel on a post about how they're wrong. And it's just like, bro, why are you doing that?
Yep.
You know, why are you wasting your time on that?
Yeah, they're talking about Nigeria and the stuff going on in it or something like that. It's like, bro, you live in Iowa.
Yeah.
What are you talking about right now? Like, what does Nigeria have to do with your life right now at all? You know.
Right.
Now, granted, if you live in Minnesota, obviously Somalia is a big concern for you, but you know, not the point there.
Right.
But that goes right along the lines of what we were even talking about in the episode too, because you talk about that high stress life, like that type of thought process leads to what we're talking about now with immigrants, because you talk about caring so much about these people that have this perceived difficulty going on in their life, for example, and their lives are just horrible over in their home countries, for example, just terrible, nothing's going right, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's our job to care about these people, even though we can't care for the people already here at this point in time. And now the order gets thrown out the window entirely. You talk about every supposed oppressed group, as we talk about, and usually, again, when you talk about oppressed groups, most people think of non-Europeans a lot of the times.
Yeah, right.
And Europeans have they give people that are of European descent no choice at all but to be like, oh, you guys are all oppressors, all of us.
Right.
That's what you get called. And then that sentiment, again, allows foreign countries to come in. It allows influence from a foreign country like Israel. It allows influence in state politics, like in Minnesota with Somalians and whatnot too,
Even
because
local.
we have to care about this. Even local, again, we see it every day here. There's a huge influx of us caring about everybody, bringing all the refugees, bringing all this. And it's like, bro, we can't even solve any of our problems right now. We don't have any room for any of this at all.
Well, it kind of even dates back. I'm thinking about, growing up in school, like in public education, because we went through the curriculum, learned about, the slavery and the Holocaust and things like that. And we were told for years and years and years about how one group was good, one group was bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no nuance because, again, people at that age obviously can't understand it.
Sure.
Mhm.
But as they grow and they learn, and they can have a little bit more of their own independent thoughts, and observations, because the brain is a pattern-seeking supercomputer
Yes.
built to survive.
Yeah.
And it's like,
As much as we joke about pattern noticing, that is what it does. It's important for survival. Yes.
it is. But, that's where you get these people who have been taught from a very young age that we need to help and that we need to help this person. Not that they are capable of helping themselves, but it's our responsibility, which is not true. And at what point is there, we say enough? And because, again, if we care about everything that's going on there, we have no sense of our own country.
Right.
And, you'll hear the story of this is a nation founded on immigrants. It's like, you got to think about the different skill sets of the people coming in. Of the Europeans that came into the country, they were building skyscrapers. They were, the cities.
Building literal communities and these beautiful Western world we
Industrial
live in right now.
revolution.
Yeah.
And it's like nowadays you can't even compare that to 2025 or even 2020 or even the year 2000, where you have the technological advances that we have today. We already have a really a thriving country, and these people,
Not the same.
They don't assimilate to the culture. They don't learn English. There should be some bare minimums when it comes to, hey, if you want to be an American, there is American culture.
Yeah.
And people forget that. It's like you can go, we can talk about diversity. If you go to the different points of even the United States, like you go in the South, there's a whole different culture. You go in the Pacific Northwest, you have the people who are in the mountains, outdoorsy. You think about the Midwest, you have that people who are hospitable, things like that. You have, the elites on the coast or whatever, like the superstars and the money and things like that's
Business and-
diversity.
Yeah. Right.
That's the American diversity itself. It's like diversity is not just color or race or
sexuality.
Right.
And again, it just dilutes and dilutes and dilutes until there's nothing left. And you have people who don't notice it. It's the frog in the boiling water. And
Yeah, right.
buddy, I'm seeing some steam. That's just how I view it. And it's like, okay, how can I best control the situation? Because if I get fired up, or if I get too emotionally charged or wound up, kind of going back to a personal thing, it's like that can raise my blood pressure. If I raise my blood pressure enough, it damages my kidney. So it's like, how do I balance it? And it's like, man, I just don't care.
So why do you play golf? Can't raise your blood
Yeah, that's
pressure.
a really good question. Yeah.
This is longer than a 3-second pause.
I apologize.
Sorry. I play golf because the camaraderie that it brings, having fun. It's a great hobby, and I have another 50 years to get good. So at 150, I might get a couple birdies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But no, it's
he just calls himself old.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
I mean, he's picking up.
Yeah.
I've been taking shots since season 2, episode 18.
Nope, season 3, episode 18.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's the.
That was the Alzheimer's kicking in.
Is this around the time?
He goes, I'll remember this. I'll remember this.
I'll remember this.
Is this around the time of day where you usually take your nap, your afternoon nap?
No, it's whenever I'm going to Olive Garden to get the early bird special.
Gotcha. Okay.
Olive Garden.
If we need to pause at any point, you just let us know.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
good.
Olive Garden is good. No free ads. It is good, but like, it's not my first choice. I'll tell you that right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll just have some apple juice and I'll be fine.
Yeah. Perfect.
Apple
If we hear the
juice.
Oats bus, honk out there, we'll let you go.
Thank you.
We can always finish up.
This train got derailed. How do we get back on track?
Well,
brother?
this is what happens when we have you on, JT, because we've gotten more comfortable with you. What is interesting is you were talking about it. Well, because we're talking about the combination of the topics we're talking about, pattern noticing, so to speak, but also like keeping yourself calm and in check while you're doing that too. It's definitely possible because it's just like, okay, you have an awareness of these things. You have an awareness that we need to handle things, so to speak, in the way of like not only in our own lives, but also at a local, state, and federal level as well. So we have an awareness of that. But again, where do you and I come back to? Where do all 4 of us in here come back to? Is that you come back to the order again.
Mhm.
Christ, Holly, in my case, our baby girl on the way,
Mabel.
except,
Mabel.
Mabel Gabel. Yep.
Mhm.
Confirmed name for sure. No.
You better say not confirmed. name.
Not confirmed. Not confirmed.
We're gonna
at
have
all.
some listeners like, what the hell
Yeah,
are
what
they
is
thinking?
wrong?
man?
Like that's when they tune off. It's like getting up Mabel, not a good name at all. But I mean, it also like where it stems from too, because you're talking about the people that are again the good and bad guys throughout history. Usually, the bad guys are somehow Europeans in some way, in some manner, because you're talking about again the difference in the settlers, so to speak. We're talking about settlers compared to immigrants. There's a difference here. You're talking about people coming to this country now, which is already a developed country. All the foundations and all the infrastructure is already set in place. And then you look back to somebody like Mitch and I's ancestors who were here in the 1700s and the resources they did not have, as it was a very fledgling country at that point in time, if even a country at the time.
It wasn't even a country.
It wasn't
yet,
technically a
yeah.
country at the time,
Yeah.
at that point in time. But there's a massive difference because you're talking about immersing yourself with not only indigenous culture of the populations that were here before as well in the Americas. You're also talking about immersing yourself in being okay with building up communities and making relationships with other people, and then eventually advancing technology enough to the point to where we're at now, where we can literally keep a baby alive at 19 weeks. That was like the record that just got broken. There was a baby born. The mom was at 19 weeks pregnant, had the child, and we just kept this like 1 pound baby alive. Incredible. So now we're at this point, where we can do that stuff. That was not built by immigrants. It was built by settlers and people who had a very forward thinking, creative, innovative mind that came over. So you could even make the argument. I sent you a read through on Twitter to where it was basically saying like Americans are actually a different race of Europeans as well. Because Europeans at the time they've had developed societies for, I don't even know how many years, like since literally Rome basically and on, if you want to make that argument. And the Americas, we had to reset almost. The Europeans that came over to the Americas literally had to reset essentially and take themselves down to the base level, right? All the horses, getting used to Iroquois, Cherokee cultures, all that stuff, maybe immersing themselves with that in some way and learning from them in some way too. So it's like a different race of people also. But then you turn around and say, because we built the world where you can now talk about all this stuff and act like a victim, the people that built this are just another immigrant, just like nowadays.
Mm.
And like you said, it's very infuriating to hear that too. But, and all of us in here, because we are of European descent, could then attempt to take on a victim mindset. We could find something else in our life that's a victim mindset. You know, again, you go back to the kidney transplant. You could look at that. You know, I could be like, well, I mean, I wasn't born into a wealthy family or anything like that. I was born into a middle-class family. Oh, that's somehow a victim mindset on my part or something like that because of these lack of resources somewhere here or something like that. Or I had this bad breakup when I was 20 years, you know, or whatever situation you want to make up with. You could do a similar thing. You know what I mean? Like you could somehow make up these stories, but we are actively choosing not to.
Because we also know how out of pocket that would be.
It would be, be uncalled for.
Because
entirely.
we've talked about it many times about how appreciative we are to have had two parents to raise us and great siblings and live in great neighborhoods, go through great schools, and have just about any opportunity that we could have wanted or could want now. You know, that's what we see.
Yep.
We don't see it's like, you know, I wasn't gifted a BMW on my 16th birthday. Like, what?
Right. and again, too, what you're talking about right now, we could then turn around and then feel bad for all these other supposed oppressed groups and apologize for having a great set of parents. We could apologize for being this amazing, you know, white person that has all the privilege in the world or something like that. But we're not going to do that because our parents and our families did what you're supposed to do as parents and families.
Yes.
They did what we're supposed to do. Our ancestors got us to this point in the country, and we're here early in the country, multiple generations at this point in time. They did what they were supposed to do.
And carried it on.
Exactly.
That's a key thing, too. From those early days in the 1700s and all that, carried on those values and things like that, you know, and that's what got us to now, you know, and I think we all turned out somewhat well, at least, you know, pretty good. Certainly handsome, all four of us. You know, so
I'd make an argument.
I'd
make an argument.
Yeah.
Once I finally shave my head, I'll join you guys on that one. But yeah,
I think we just do it.
Dude, I've thought about it. Trust me. Big wedding party coming up next year, and Holly wants me to keep the hair for that. Apparently, you know.
I do have a crazy question though. So in those circumstances where we do apologize, do the people that we apologize to ever accept the apology, move on, and try to build a relationship or build a brotherhood or build a connectivity or build unity? Like, does that ever happen? I don't know.
I can't say I've seen that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
I think it just adds the fuel. Then they keep stacking on top of. It turns into a video I saw where literally a woman had a white man on a chain and basically said, like, you know, kiss the ground in front of this black man because he's a black king. That's what it turns into. Well, dude, it just keeps going down the hill. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, remember that? I want to say it was sometime in 2020 where there was that group of white people that was in front of a group of black people. And they were all like crying and they're bowing down and like apologizing for slavery.
Yes.
You remember that? Like, you remember that all coming
That was during Saint Floyd. Netanyahu.
Oh. 107.
Man, dude, I can't even take this section seriously with that. Okay. Anyways, continue.
But yes. Well, that was kind of the entirety of the point there, but it just goes right into that. It's like, what is that?
Yes.
Like, do you know how stupid you look?
What you're saying, JT, is does the apology ever even get recognized?
No. So then why apologize in the first place?
Exactly.
And,
right.
You know, kind of going back to these immigrants, we're always told that they're here to search for a better life.
Mm-hmm.
So
the American dream.
Right. It's in their best interest to be here, but it's not. But if we say it's in our best interest to have these people removed, all these
or back in their home countries. Yeah.
Is it 80 million? Because there's 55 million currently on a visa, plus, you know, ballpark figure 30 million.
It's somewhere around 80.
If you go into any metro area, it's more than 60 to 80 million, in my personal opinion. Like, if you go into any metro area, it is literally more than that.
But like, at what point does it become, hey, what's in our best? What's in
Exactly.
like even the United States? Let's all collectively, like as Americans, not just saying any specific group of Americans, but as a country to survive, thrive, continue, and exist and flourish.
Mm.
When do we do things that are in our best interest? Because again, kind of going back to APAC, where you have our politicians who sending, or even Ukraine sending billions and billions and billions of dollars overseas. Is that in our best interest?
I mean, we know the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the
Which-
hypothetical,
exactly.
of course.
That's the
Exactly.
It's
but-
not.
right. So it's
Because
like,
you're ruining the country for the heritage Americans in this scenario.
correct.
You're essentially saying, make the country worse for the heritage Americans so we can make it better for other people. It is literally the ordo amoris we've been talking about this entire time. with
Well,
it.
and is it even really making life better for those people?
Well, I mean, considering we're the white people and the European people are going to be a minority.
No,
and,
no. I know, but the money being sent elsewhere, is it really making Ukraine better?
No.
That's what you meant.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
No, it's not. Pretty much everyone knows that Netanyahu is killing kids over there. There's a genocide happening.
It's like a genuine awareness of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Both sides of the main political parties and things like that. Like, we know what's going on,
Mhm.
yet we continue to allow him into the White House.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
have our-
Lindsey Graham admits that there is just kill as many kids as possible. Or Randy Fine, same thing.
Exactly.
They say as many kids as it takes to liberate Gaza or whatever you
Yeah,
want to talk
yeah.
about from Hamas.
right.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane because you're right. That money going over there does not make life better at
Not
all.
at all.
Because you talk about it makes it worse for Christians over there too.
Exactly.
There's plenty of stories of Christians being persecuted over in Israel as well.
Mhm.
So it's like, wait a second, I'm not okay with supporting that.
No.
But
Maybe.
yeah, kind of go against, or kind of going along with these oppressed groups, and a lot of it's like the people within those groups calling out that behavior and saying, "Hey, this is wrong." Like, for example, the Gays Against Groomers.
Mhm.
You have the people within that community saying, "Hey, this is wrong." But what I don't see, and what I haven't seen, let me know if you have, is you don't have like the Jewish people against Israel, like what the government of Israel is doing.
Supposedly there is, but I just
But-
hear rumors about it.
Yeah, how
That's the thing. Yeah.
you don't see that, where it's like you don't have anybody within that state of Israel.
They would
speaking up
get
against it.
ostracized big time if they did.
Which is why there's not, because that's been purposely
Exactly.
manufactured out of fear to
Mhm.
prevent people from doing that, which is what they do over here as well with the anti-Semitism laws that are coming about and being
Yeah,
proposed.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You can criticizing a black person doesn't make you racist. Criticizing doesn't a homosexual make you homophobic. Criticizing the American government doesn't make you anti-American. But criticizing the government, the actions that they're doing, makes you anti-Semitic.
Right.
And now you have laws and could face prison fines or
Mhm.
restriction to other services.
Right.
Because of a viewpoint that we had a First Amendment. I forgot about
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
little aspect.
Mm-hmm.
There was a situation down at Florida State on this same topic where a girl was arrested and now charged with essentially like some sort of anti-Semitic harassment or something like that, because I believe DeSantis was trying to put in anti-Semitism laws down there too. Surprise. But there was a situation where this girl apparently like verbally harassed a Jewish student apparently or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And like genuinely verbally harassed. Like from what I understand, like it was a girl to a man. Like she didn't try to beat the shit out of him or something like that. She verbally harassed him and said something about basically the genocide in Gaza, if I'm remembering the story correctly. And she is now in jail because of this. So and here's my issue with this. If we're going to address that, then along the way, you better also deport 50 million in the next 4 years. You better handle other issues in this country too. That is the problem, because you focus on things like that and verbal harassment, essentially, and that's it.
Which is arbitrary. What does that even mean?
Which extremely.
Right.
And also we have a First Amendment to cover that.
Exactly.
Like JT said.
Right.
So you're talking about an arbitrary thing compared to actual action that needs to be taken, for the young Americans that carry most of the financial tax burden right now. Again, it's not the older adults. You talk about look at taxes comparatively and then wealth, older adults and then younger adults in society. We could address that. That's one issue we could address. We could address immigration. What else? What am I missing here? There's plenty of other things we can address. Infrastructure.
Right. Well, and
I
a
mean-
lot of other issues are solved through solving it. Talked about.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's where a lot of issues start and can stop.
Yep. Because more people in a country means more strain on the country's resources.
Exactly.
And it also means more strain on the housing, which makes housing more expensive.
It means more crime.
Means more crime because you're bringing in unvetted people.
Exactly.
So you just keep rolling it down the hill. You're right. Like a lot of the issues could be addressed. Like I just said, I would have almost like swept that Florida State situation under the rug if Trump already had 10 million people out of the country at this point in time.
Right.
That would be a whole different story. Like
Sure.
now again, I would not have ignored it. I would hope not anyways, but it wouldn't have been on my radar as much if he would have already done part of the job they promised at this point in time, you know? So you're talking about addressing something, like you said, that has nothing to do, because if you criticize the government of Israel, I got told this in the DMs that me criticizing Netanyahu is anti-Semitic. He's a world leader.
Yeah.
We can criticize world leaders in America.
Right.
Last time I checked.
Yeah.
Like I must have missed that one.
Right. I'm
Really.
pretty sure there's plenty of other countries that criticize Trump. Pretty sure that happens.
Yeah. Right.
Pretty sure there's
Right.
plenty of countries that criticize Putin or
AKA.
Xi Jinping. Like, I'm pretty sure that happens all the time.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I bet Taiwan doesn't have a great opinion of Xi Jinping.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I mean, what are we talking about here? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's the guy because of the supposed oppression that they've been through their whole life, the Jewish community, Israel, whatever you want to call it. Because of that supposed oppression, now we have to bow at their feet.
Right.
That's what we're getting to.
Right.
And again, it's not even just Israel. It is a main front issue right now, of course, but we're talking about bowing to every oppressed group. That's what it leads to.
Well, again, it kind of goes back to the hero aspect. It's like you have all these other countries who, whenever they were British colonies, they celebrate all their independence days. Like the United States celebrated being the hero over a tyrannical British empire.
Correct.
But it's like, well, where's Israel's hero moment where they say, hey, we're fine, we're good. But what it looks like for them is the violence and spreading, and they don't push for peace. I don't really see a push for peace. It's more of a on the offense and more of a violent manner, so to speak, where it's like in today's day and age, back in the 1700s, I think that was a lot more reasonable and appropriate because that's what it took.
Yeah.
But
You're
now,
talking about violence back in the 1700s as a tool of creation, or what do you mean?
of independence.
Of independence,
And
yes.
of peace. Saying, hey,
Yes. Right.
because I mean, we still do business with, England. It's like we've
Of
won our
course.
independence,
Yeah.
and we
There's
still
a diplomatic aspect to that. Yeah.
correct. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, has there been any diplomatic, conversations brought to the table? And I think if that was an option or utilized, as a world leader, we're saying, hey, we want peace, we want this. Can we come to an agreement? But these people, these tribes, so to speak, have been fighting for thousands and thousands of years, and it's like it's a rerun.
Yeah,
it's like you're constantly told this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. A little Marshawn Lynch action going on. It's
Goat.
like, yeah. At what point do you say, hey, enough? Let's decouple from this situation. What is in our best interest? And it doesn't have to be a violent manner. It's just like hey, we've had enough.
We would like your intelligence agencies not to be a part of ours or connected to ours in any way. We would like funding from your foreign agency, aka APAC, to be completely gone from our politicians in our society. Detach. We're not going to bother you.
Along with all the other packs, by the way, on that note.
Yeah. Along with all the other
Yeah.
lobbying.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
100%, which also influence politicians' decisions at that point in time. 100%. But it's like, you're right. It could be a very diplomatic solution, but then it's going to get called hate speech, violence, by just doing a diplomatic solution in this scenario too. And what I've come to hear, and then you also read in polls, is a massive swing among young conservative males, especially one against Israel. Netanyahu himself was talking about this, and he needs to address this rise of hating Israel. It's like, why? Why is there a unrest among young men against Israel? Could it be your own actions? Could it be that you need to take responsibility for what you continue to do at this point in time? Maybe. I would argue yes to that question. But you see this rise in young males against that, against immigration, all this stuff as well. And young males are either going to get heard or they're going to make themselves heard. One way or another is what's going to happen. It's going to come to a head at some point in time, unless everybody just continues to sit on their couch and it's like, well, I guess, okay, things will get worse continuously. And I don't see that. I don't see that being the outcome.
I don't think so either, because, we've had plenty of conversations, you and I specifically, Gable, with guys around our age, and JT, you are included in that. But
and that's news to me.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just kidding.
That's the breaking news on this
That's
episode.
the breaking news of the episode. Yep. But yes, JT is in our age range. Yes.
Right. But we've had plenty of conversations that they kind of just come up, and these types of topics just kind of come up. And you quickly realize how in line a lot of guys around our age are on these types of topics. And it's very, very refreshing, because there's been plenty of times where you and I have felt like alone.
Oh,
on
absolutely.
These ideas. We share them and we certainly talk on them. But when you find out the guys around you are also on that same page, it's like, oh, maybe those polls, which we just see on Twitter, which, hopefully they're true, but you never know. But it's like, if we just kind of take a little small poll of, these 10 guys right here, or these 5 guys or whatever, it's like, wait a second, maybe something is happening.
Yes.
And in the very near future, it is our generation that will be in power. And that, I think, is when the true change can and will happen, which is what you're speaking to.
Hopefully without violence.
Hopefully
Right.
without
Yes.
violence, certainly.
Yes.
Because
Right.
especially when you have violence within your own country, like, it's never a good thing, obviously.
No.
And we're not advocating for that. We certainly don't want that. It's come to that in the history of the United States, obviously, on multiple occasions.
It's been necessary before. Correct.
100%.
Yep.
And we hope to not have to go that route with things, but if things do have to go that way, then they do have to go that way. But when our generation gets to that point, I really do think that change can and will happen, because the fatigue of all of these different topics is very much growing at a very rapid pace. And at a certain point, the pot will spill over.
Yes. It's weighing especially young men down a lot.
Absolutely.
Is the question. And because you're talking about these guys that we've had conversations with, Wurtz is talking unprompted, by the way, guys. We're talking about stuff that we didn't even know they were conservative. We didn't know what they thought. We knew nothing about that.
I mean, heck, as funny as it is, one of these conversations started by us talking about raw milk. Like, literally. That's how it started.
Yeah. And it can lead you down to some other ways too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Rothschilds and stuff like that? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, that's a crazy rabbit hole right there too.
Yeah.
With pasteurized milk. Oh my, that is a wild one.
But to kind of piggyback off Wurtz is that, when we have these conversations, it's not a coming from a point of helplessness. It's not like a disarray of like, oh, what do we need to do? It's like, okay, this is what we need to do. It's a very structured, focused conversation. And a lot of it just comes to how do we become better? And a lot of the fitness is it. And it's not just a white male thing that people are fatigued about, but it's just about, or experiencing the fatigue, I should say.
Correct.
But,
yes.
That's again where social media can also come into play as well, where you have the people who post, not to be like an influencer or anything, but kind of just say, hey, this is what I'm doing, for me with the transplant. It's like, I post the stuff that I do because I want to show what's possible when given a second chance at life.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we from an American standpoint can be like, hey, this is what we want to see as a strong American country. And that stuff can go, unfortunately, the negative stuff, gets spread a lot faster and people spend more time on it and it gets their emotions going. But yeah, if you can have those people like talking about, hey, our next generation, but if that next generation has that focus of the God, family, country aspect, it takes away all of that fatigue. It's like when you're getting properly fueled after a workout or before a workout, it's like it makes things a lot easier to manage. Keep it simple, stupid. I say that to myself all the time, but if you keep it simple, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
And that's where you can make, the small things done consistently in strategic places have a major impact. And these conversations that we're having are the small things done consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like, all right, this person someone could be listening to this episode, in another state and want to have that kind of conversation too. And again, it's not saying we don't hate this group. We just want to love our group more.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe people get confused. It's like, it's not the hate of a stranger. It's the love of a neighbor, a love of a family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, I'm going to get a little bit crazy here, but it's like the whole Cracker Barrel change,
Sure.
where it changed things from a true American cultural icon
Heritage, yeah.
Yep.
to now it's just a Chat GPT sleek minimalist approach. I'm like, that's not what this country is about. It's about the conversations and the knickknacks and the generations of, doing things.
Yeah, and creativity. I mean, I saw a video on one of the platforms of the final piece of the arch being installed. It's like people built that, you know? Like, how crazy is that?
Mhm.
You don't see stuff like that nowadays.
Our ancestors built things like that.
Yeah, and
I mean,
not
truthfully,
even our
yeah.
ancestors. Like, that was what, 1965, I think, is when the arch was completed.
I mean, yeah.
You know, like, that's not that long ago. But here we are in 2025. Was that 60 years later?
Mhm.
You don't see stuff like that.
Well,
happening.
think about how much different our country is now compared to 1965. Too.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
absolutely.
Like a whole entire different America. We're talking 150, 200 million people at most.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
at
you're
the time.
and in that short, in the grand scheme of things, in that short time span, look at how apathetic the country has turned and the culture, has turned, how lazy the culture has turned. Again, you don't see stuff like the arch being built. You know,
Or beautiful Catholic churches, Protestant churches, Orthodox churches.
Sure.
I mean, you're talking about you go over to Europe and look at something built in the 1200s
Oh,
that took 50 years to build.
yeah.
We don't do things like that anymore.
Well, dude, some of those are like just now being completed.
For
Some of them.
600 years. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's insane.
You know,
It's awesome.
I was in Germany. I want to say I was like 12 years old or something. So I don't have all the memories, but I certainly have some of like the castles that are still standing. Some of them are, you know, pieces of castles, but some of them are not. Some of them are fully intact, usable, are used, and they are beautiful structures.
Mhm.
In Germany and Austria, those were two specific places that had these, and it's incredible. It really is. It's breathtaking, honestly, to stand there, and it's like, think about the history from this building, and think about the people that built this, and then you come over to the U.S. Look at things like the Statue of Liberty, which I know that wasn't made here, but look at the Statue of Liberty. Look at the Gateway Arch. Look at the World Trade Centers, you know, and then look at the new one as well, for that matter. You know, you see those types of things, and it's like our country built those things, you know, and the times that those were built, like that's what we came from.
Yep.
But then you look now, and the Cracker Barrel thing is a perfect example. Someone just went into ChatGPT or Canva and made the simplest, stupidest looking thing they possibly could. And like, that's a very recognizable brand. And not only a restaurant, but it's like
It's Americana.
yeah.
Americana is a great
Exactly.
way to describe it. Yeah.
It is 100%, you know, and there's been plenty of other brands that have done stuff like that as well. And they have failed, and their sales have gone down, and their stock prices have gone down. And, you know, people don't support those types of brands anymore. Look at what happened with Anheuser-Busch when that whole Bud Light thing happened. You know, it's coming back now. But look at what happened there. You know, and that wasn't necessarily a brand change or a logo change. That was something a little bit deeper, I would say. But those are just two examples.
Same person implementing it, or same type of person, I should say.
100%.
The vice president of Anheuser-Busch,
100%.
and then the marketing person implementing it for
Right.
Cracker Barrel.
Right.
Same thing. You know, it's because you even go back to one more example I was going to give too, is like even local here in St. Louis, built in 1905, 1904, maybe it was, the Cathedral Basilica.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Right.
close to Central West End and all that stuff. It is an incredible structure. We're talking as close as 1900 by local St. Louisans.
Bro, there's a lot of history in St. Louis.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
yeah,
seriously,
100%.
there's a lot of history.
There's a reason
here.
they call us Gateway to the West.
Yeah,
And again, like that's why we're also passionate about protecting St. Louis, protecting its heritage,
yeah.
and not just, you know, flooding it with as many third worlders as possible. That's also a big factor of
Absolutely.
that too, you know, and that flows along with the conversation too. But yeah,
What else you got to add, JT,
fill us in.
before we get into the Q&A?
Sure.
What's on your heart, JT?
It's on my
Anything.
heart. Okay. Yeah. I'll tell you. I have hope. I actually
Yes.
believe
Yes.
that through our intentional action and our intentional conversations and the intentional discipline, that we're not done. It's not over.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if you want to have hope, do things that are worth being hopeful for.
Mhm.
Strive for things because the United States, we're champions. And not trying to be gloating or showboats, but it's like we have a reputation of conquering, of innovating,
Mhm.
of doing hard things. And, it's as emotional as these conversations can get, uh, being honest and being truthful, I think is what's necessary. But again, I have hope. I'm an optimistic person. Just having a sense of that, the brighter days are ahead type of thing. That's something that's internal. And if enough people have that and enough people believe it, it's not a controversial thing to do, but eventually we're going to have a country that we can be proud of continuing to build. It's not done being built.
Mhm.
We talk about our ancestors and the contributions that they made, but like we still got a long way to go, and we can still do it.
Yeah.
We're capable.
Our future ancestors, our
Yeah.
great great grandkids, our et cetera,
Yeah.
will be a part of continuing to develop the country in the right direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Wouldn't we be the future ancestors? To think about it like that.
Yeah, because
yeah. So let's do something cool to have them
Exactly.
write stories about us.
That's right. That's right.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Weird. Let's get Untapped.
Let's do it. Right. All right, guys. That is episode 171. Now, at the end of all of our non-guest episodes, which again, this is a breaking news episode featuring a guest.
I'm not a guest.
No.
This was made abundantly clear that I'm not a guest.
You are a
Yeah.
resident.
I'm a feature.
Yeah, a feature resident, repeat guest.
Like on a rap album, you're a feature.
Mhm.
That's a compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you. At the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch will ask us a Q&A question. Now, JT, I'm curious. Do you know all the ways that people can submit these Q&A questions to us?
Wow. Yes, you can DM them, send them a text message if you have their numbers. You can email them at extricationfitness@gmail.com.
That's right.
You can go with a link in their bios. You can go to YouTube, Untapped.
Leave them in the comments.
Leave them in the comments. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's if you have more ways finding not to submit a question than there are ways to submit a question.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So, any of those ways, you can submit those questions to us. They all get sent to Money Mitch. Now, these questions can be about anything.
Anything.
Wow.
He tried to lob that one
That's
up,
right.
and JT was
That's
like,
right.
"Oh, I don't want
We-
to jump for that one."
We fumbled the alley-oop. I mean, we already established that he
Fumble,
can't.
alley oop, two different sports. Continue.
Okay. Swing and a miss there, huh?
Yikes.
3-hour game. Yep.
Yep, that's right. They can be about anything. The questions they can be about a past episode, be about a future topic. It can be health and wellness related, supplement related. It can be funny. We love the funny ones, but they can certainly be about anything. Money Mitch then picks one out that pertains to the episode or whatever it might be. And then we allow Mitch to be back on camera and back on the mic.
What are the methods to avoid crying wolf? How do you maybe shoulder a burden or an issue and not become a victim in terms of is there a threshold maybe, right? Is there a threshold to where maybe you do cry wolf or say something's wrong? What's that threshold?
Go ahead, JT.
Oh, it's easy. Honesty. I think if you're honest about something and saying maybe, hey, this experience happened to me, I'm looking for ways for help. I think that's one thing to do. And also just expressing your intention to get past it or move beyond, because it's really easy to stew in a negative emotion. It's a real comfortable place to be. I could have been comfortable, but again, in my circumstance, I was like asking people how to help me get past this current situation. And I think because that's what people want the most, but they're not honest enough to really be either direct or have the courage to ask for something like that. Because it's like there's a lot of bad things that happen to good people, and you just have a moment to say, hey, I want to get better, I want to do better. there are probably people who have not only been in your situation, but have also been to the other side, have gone through it and say, hey, this is how I did it. Again, it doesn't have to be a blanket, path or structured program saying, hey, this is how I did it. Can any of this help you? So I think that's a fantastic way not to cry wolf.
Yeah. I think also just kind of adding on to that and also going back to what you and I were talking about what we were born into rather than what we were not born into. It's choosing to see the good in a situation, and JT, you're a perfect example of that. So it's also that, it's not necessarily ignoring the bad parts of it. It could be, it certainly could be, but it's also choosing to see the good. It's choosing to see the opportunities for growth, and choosing to see the opportunities that can come from whatever the situation is, and so that also would be a way that I would say.
100%. And that also goes back to a topic we've touched on a lot with Knight's Table stuff, is JT was talking about honesty here, which is a phenomenal answer, by the way. If you're going to, quote unquote, cry wolf, so to speak, if you are, you need to have friends and close family around you that actually tell you the truth. If you're going to go to them and be like, hey, I need help with this problem. Like, I really need it. I need you to back me up. Tell me the truth here. That type of stuff. You don't need somebody around you who's going to sugarcoat it. That's why building a proper network is so important.
Sure.
And, or, hopefully, again, like in my case, being born into one with Mitchell, who always tells me the truth, even if I definitely don't want to hear it. But I mean, that's why Mitch and I are also best friends, because he tells me the truth all the time. That's why I'm so close with you two, because you don't lie to me. I hate that shit. I hate when I see friends like bullshitting each other behind their back or to their face, right to their face. Like, oh no, you're fine, dude. It's like, no, tell me if I'm fucking this up. Tell me. Like, let me know that I'm doing this wrong, because if I am, I want to change it and I want to get better at it. So that comes back to the honesty aspect, is like, that's also a way, your network is a way you can not cry wolf, so to speak. You can avoid that victimhood mindset that we've been talking about this whole episode.
Yeah.
That would be where I would come from it on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now that is officially episode 171. As always, please remember to share the show, share it to your Instagram stories. If you are a YouTube viewer, then take a picture of your screen, take a screenshot of your screen and post that to your to your Instagram stories, or Facebook for that matter. Text the episode around to your friends and family. Help us get these episodes and these messages out to more people. These things are all free. They require very little effort on your part as well, but they help us out a ton, which then in turn helps other people more. It helps us to continue to get great guests and great people on the show with us, and continues to help us bring great content. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And don't forget to untap yourself.
Tough times, 'cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up, got too little time.